different. Rather than interviewing an author, we are going to interview a reader and promoter. Scott Lovelace is a lifelong reader who enjoys sharing his love of books with the world. He also co-hosts a podcast that focuses on mystery, suspense, and thriller called One Final Twist. Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I'm Sharon Lynn, and welcome to you, Scott.
Welcome. Thank you.
So we're just going to jump right into the questions. And my first one for you is, were you always that person who just had a book recommendation for anybody who said, I don't know what to read next?
I really was. I got my love for reading from, of all places, my mother. Uh, God rest her soul. But she she was an avid reader. Even when I remember, she always had. It was either a Stephen King book or a Sidney Sheldon book or Jackie Collins. She always had Mary Higgins Clark. I mean, she read everything, and I by default, I got the books that she read, and I just started recommending books, and it just grew.
Yeah, that actually sounds a lot like our household, the Stephen King laying around, which I read when I was way too young to read it.
Yeah, no,
Um, so we had some of the Sidney Sheldons and those, and then my dad had the piles of like John D. MacDonald and
hmm
things like that. So yeah, those parents they have a pretty strong influence.
they do.
So where did you start getting your books? I mean, we just kind of answered that with whatever was laying around the house, but did you have a favorite library or
I
bookstore
did.
growing
We
up?
have. I'm in the South, and I'm in a very rural part of the South. So we didn't have bookstores. We had library. So I would check out books weekly. I would get my mother or my grandmother to take me to the library, and especially in the summer, I had a stack of books that I kept, and you know, that's where it started. And now, obviously, I have more choices. But yeah, they and the lady, it was really neat. The librarian, I mean, she knew if she got a new Stephen King book or Sidney Sheldon or something like that, she would always put it to the side for me, and I I would get it, and it just one of those things. There's no telling how many late fees, because back in the day it was like a penny a day. And I would have like 5 or 6 books I'd have to take into $3 just to pay for what I borrowed.
So
Uh,
kind of like a bookstore at some point. Now, librarians are just the most amazing
yes,
people to
yes,
have in your corner. Yeah, once they see a reader, they are
Ye-
just so wonderful.
yes, yes,
So if I may use the term bookstagrammer,
yes.
because you do have a very, very impressive following on
Thank you.
Instagram.
Thank
Um,
you.
so does being a bookstagrammer, does that change the way you read? Like, are you forming reviews in your head or
It does. I'm always thinking a little bit ahead. Like I've got certain books that publishers and authors send. I get a ton of requests weekly, and I really don't turn anything down, unless I'm really really stacked. My buddy Teresa Brock, who's my co-host on One Final Twist, we read a lot of the same type of books, suspense, thriller, horror, and she'll say, "Do you want to read this?" And I'll say, "Do you want to read that?" And then we talk about the books, and if I get extras, I send them to her. If she gets extras, she sends them to me, and it works out really well. Plus, my wife, um, she's kind of the hidden reviewer, I guess you could say. Um, she likes
not
reading the
anymore?
she likes to read the suspense, thriller, and horror. She's not a romantic type lady. She does not like that stuff. She wants the hardcore crime, the noir crime and that
Hmm.
kind of stuff. So I joke with her because she'll send me a little message on text, and it'll be a review for a book that she's read, and she's like, it doesn't really sound like you read it, but we're gonna do this. And but her view on books and my view on books is the same. She's a true gem. I'm lucky to have her. But she loves books as much as I do,
That
and
is
she encourages me
wonderful.
to get. She's actually the reason I do what I do. She built this bookcase. This behind me, it's a coffin. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can
Oh,
see or not.
yeah. I can see it's
It's
got the.
it's it's a coffin that we picked up at an estate sale as a prop. And she's like, I think that would be a really good bookcase. And at
That's
first, all I
awesome.
put in it was horror and stuff like that. And but now it's got a little bit of everything in it. But yeah, my wife, she did that.
She does sound like a gem.
She really is.
That's wonderful. Um, well, and just while we're talking about kind of your partners, how did you and Teresa get connected to?
We had a mutual author friend reach out. He's from Kentucky. His name is Wes Brown. He sent me his book. Well, through Crooked Lane, sent it to
Mhm,
me, and I had read it and really, really enjoyed his book, and made a comment or two on his post or whatever. So he sent me a message. He said, "Meet this lady. She liked my book too. Maybe y'all could do a giveaway together." And so we did, and we messaged back and forth and chatted and text and all this, and then at BocherCon last September,
mhm,
we actually met for the first time, and we've since met a couple other places, but we kind of hashed out back then that we wanted to do something a little different
mhm.
with the books. I was like, I really want to do a podcast. I was like, what do you think? I said it'd be good if we could have two different type of opinions on books, me being the guy, she being the girl. And she's got a bubbly personality to read the kind of books that she reads. I mean, she likes the hard boiled crime stuff, horror. And she's like, I read guy books. I was like, it doesn't matter. I was like, as long as you enjoy what you're reading, you know. And so we go back and forth, and we finally sat down back last October, and we kind of ironed everything out. And I was like, I really want to have Alma Katsu. She's one of my favorites. That's like, I really want to have her on. I sent a message, and she immediately agreed. And so from there on, it just happened. And we've got stuff booked out through the end of this year with upcoming crime thrillers and horror and the suspense mystery. So it really has been fun.
Well, conferences like BoucherCon, like I met you in an elevator at BoucherCon.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, read
Yes.
my book. Um,
Yeah. I came
and-
I came home from BoucherCon with like 400 books. I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I ever going to get through this?" And I did. I got through almost all of them. But
that is
yeah.
impressive. But I mean, one of the things that I'm facing right now as an author is the number of fake invitations that I'm getting.
Oh, really?
Like 25, 30 a day,
Oh, wow.
We want to feature you in our book club. I'm like, well, do it. You don't need my permission.
Yeah.
But they're real book clubs with false, like just Gmail accounts. And
Yes,
they're just AI
exactly.
generated. And yeah,
And
I get
they
dozens
probably
and
want you
dozens.
to send a little bit of money to help with
Right.
decorations or something like that, like book clubs use decorations.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I get a bun. I really on the influencer bookstagram side, I get probably like you said, I don't get that many a week, but I get several spoof accounts wanting me to be a part of this or be a part of
Yeah.
that. Have to be really careful.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I actually last year it was really funny. I generally do not accept any money whatsoever
Mhm.
from authors. It's just not something that I'm into. I don't want your money. If you want me to
Thank
read
you.
your book, send me your book. That's payment enough for me, in my opinion. Um, but I had a publisher reach out, want to know if I wanted to do an ad. And I thought, I don't know if this is real or not, because it was pretty decent money for what it was. And I ended up contacting the head publisher of the company because it had the logo and all that.
Hmm.
And I was like, does this person work for you? And is this a real offer? And it worked out. It was
Oh,
legit.
good.
She said, yes, this is something we do on TikTok. It is, that's what it is. And it all worked out, but it was kind of scary, to think that they wanted me to, give my social security number for tax purposes
Yeah.
and all of that. And it ended up being a legitimate deal. But you have to be really careful because there's a lot of scammers out there
Hmm.
that just
Oh, in the last week, I've gotten emails from James Patterson and Nora Roberts. I'm
oh
like,
wow,
they just
that
want to discuss process. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
you're not real.
yeah. It's not that either one of them hasn't written 9,000 books apiece and they don't want to,
Right. And they have
yeah,
time to discover
to
me somehow.
just chat. Yeah, it's crazy that and so many scammers, and with AI, it's just you have to be careful about
Mhm.
what you do. And
Well, it was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on
yeah,
our show because it's like, okay, this is a legitimate, this is what he does.
it
And
really yeah, I
yeah.
understand. You have to be careful. You have to vet your offers, and I get a lot of publicity companies,
Mhm.
and they're great to work with. I have a whole I'm affiliated with 7 or 8 book publicity service type companies,
Mhm.
and they are fabulous to work with. And we never discuss money. We never exchange money. It's never about that. And they know that I do not post negative. I have never posted a negative book review. If I get something that I don't like, which I do, it does happen. I mean, it's not every book is for every person. That book just simply gets put to the side, and I say this one was not for me. I'm moving on to the next book, and it's no harm, no foul, and we all stay friends, and it's a great thing. I mean, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and I've read every book that he's ever written. Did I like every one of his books? Absolutely not. But
No, there are some that are like, you, sir, needed
yeah,
an editor. Um,
yes, yes. They're like 1,500 pages, and we're slogging through here, and it's like, man, are you ever going to shut up? But you know,
but
but
that doesn't make
that
him not a genius, you know.
yeah, I know it's right, but
No one develops characters faster. He can develop a character in one sentence. It's just,
I was watching an interview back a couple of months ago with Joe Hill, his son, and he's like, Dad goes Kachui, and we have a book. That's what he was, but
that's
uh,
awesome.
and it's just, I really like any you know listening to authors talk and supporting authors. That's what I'm here for. There's no point in being mean or negative. Now, to me and my wife sitting here, it's like, I don't like this. That's one thing. But for me to get on the my platforms and say, oh, this book sucks, don't read it. There's no point in that.
Yeah,
So
it's just like you said, it's just mean.
yeah, there's no point being mean.
Yeah. So has your favorite genre changed at all over the years?
Yeah, I think it has a little bit because back in the day, I read, Jackie Collins, and she was more of a uh, naughty, not really naughty, but her books were scandalous, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
But I mean, I read everything she wrote back in the '80s when I was before high school. I mean, I was in elementary, middle school.
When you should not
Uh,
have been reading them.
I
Okay.
should not have been reading them, but I gear more now towards suspense thriller. I'll read a romance every once in a while. I'm not a uh, smut reader. Not that I don't want to say that is a genre, but there's a lot out there that is very sexual, and I don't read a lot of it.
Yeah.
Um, if there's a scene in a book that makes the book move, then yeah, that's one thing. But if it's just
But if it's
erotica,
right. Yeah.
I'm not into erotica. But
Yeah.
I do generally read now. I'm more of suspense thriller
Mhm.
and horror. I don't read as much horror as I used to, but I still read. I still read a pretty good chunk of it.
I was huge horror for a really long time, and then also kind of the really like Patricia Cornwall with
Oh yeah, yeah,
her Emmy and always a
hmm
serial killer. And there
yeah,
just came a point where I went, can't do it anymore. Can't,
yeah,
it's scaring me. I
yeah.
don't want to be scared. I'm
This
just
is
going to read more
true.
cozies.
Yeah. And I read quite a few cozies. I really like the Death that Takes a Bath. I really enjoyed that one.
Thank you.
Um, and I do enjoy a cozy every once in a while. It's just like a palate cleanser. You read serial killers and murderers, and well, you have murderers in them, but
Yeah.
it's a different kind of setting, I guess you could say. It's not as hardcore,
Yeah. Yeah.
violent type stuff.
Yeah, you
I
keep the
mean,
violence off
off
stage.
page, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, well, what is we already talked about your podcast a bit. So just tell me what is next for you? Are you going to Belchicon in Calgary, for example, or
I'm not going to be able to go to Calgary simply for a logistics purpose. I would like to go to Calgary, but getting the amount of books back across the border, that's an issue with me, and I have fear, and I
yeah, New
have FOMO.
Orleans is a lot closer to Tennessee.
I have a FOMO. I have a fear of missing out. Like if I don't take this book or if I don't request this book, if I see, what I want, I just, it would cost an arm and a leg to ship them from
Oh,
Canada,
it does, yeah.
and you can't fly that many back. I mean, it would cost, basically another plane ticket to fly back.
Exactly.
So we're gonna skip BochaCon this year, but we've already booked our tickets for next year to go to
At the Capitol.
Washington. We've already got
Yeah,
our or we've already done the BochaCon reservations, and as soon as the hotel opens up for the uh, rooms, we'll be right on that
yeah.
because number one, I've always wanted to go to Washington,
It's
um,
beautiful.
and the wife does too. So we'll do that. We'll probably spend an extra few days there doing like the Smithsonian and all of the
So many
touristy.
museums. So
Yes,
cool. Yeah,
and
it's a great place for a conference.
yeah, my wife said or my niece she's a big museum. She went to Washington a few years ago. She's like, "Oh, you need to drive out to Mount Vernon." So we'll probably go out to Mount Vernon, and we'll probably do that. And this summer we're gonna do. It's called ShiverCon. It's in Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
Um, it's a horror
Oh,
suspense
okay.
type stuff. Uh, we'll probably hit that one up. And Teresa is talking about going to Haunt the Reader weekend in Pennsylvania. I think she's going to do that. I am not. That is too far for me to go. You know, I like to drive if I can go because of just the logistics of bringing books
Oh,
back
yeah. Well, if you get
and
that many
and
books, yeah.
yeah, and plus
Also, I learned a fun fact. If you have like a stack of books in your suitcase and it goes through the X-ray machine, it looks like C4. Um, TSA does not like it
oh
because
wow.
yeah, I went to a conference in England and I took 35 books. So that was like one carry-on. Um,
Right.
and and I put it through the machine and they were like, unpack it all.
Oh, wow. That's something. I never would have thought that.
Yeah. So driving is safer all the way
Yeah.
around. All right. Well, tell us where our fans can find you. Social medias.
I am on Instagram at scottlovelace.books. TikTok is the same. My Facebook is just Scott Lovelace. Um, it's uh, pretty much Scott. I'm pretty much the only Scott Lovelace that does books. So if anybody wants to reach out, they're more than welcome. And if they want tips or tricks to how to become a influencer, a bookstagrammer, I'll be glad to tell them. It's you
That's
just be
very kind.
honest. Just be honest. There's no great secret to getting books. I mean, the the accounts with 150 books or 150 followers to the bigger accounts. I mean, there's accounts that have 50, 60,000, even 100,000 followers, and they get books. I mean, they probably get them a little bit easier, but a lot of the book companies, they really like the impassioned uh reviewer that if you request a book and you tell them that you're going to review their book, unless you're not able to connect with the book, which is, that does happen.
Happens. Yeah.
Just you need to post about that book, review it, and put the word out there. And that way you just build trust with the authors and with publishers. It's what's important.
Trust. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today and chatting
Yes.
about all of this. And
This was fun. It's kind of different being on this side of the microphone,
right.
My wife, she's like, "What are you going to talk about?" I was like, "I don't know, but it's going to be fun, and then we're going to do this." So,
Yeah.
she's a huge supporter of mine. I love her to death, and I'm so glad that she's on my side.
She sounds like it every step of the way.
Uh,
Well, I hope to run into you at another conference,
yes, ma'am.
and thank you all for watching Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interview.